Now we have to think about another measure of the long-run cost of building a power plant. If you're building a new power plant, one question you might ask is, well, what am I not doing? If I build this power plant, what would I have done if I hadn't built this power plant? What am I displacing when I build this power plant? So you can think about what is my next best alternative if I don't build this power plant. And we call that the levelized avoided cost of energy. So you might ask, if I don't build this power plant, what would I have built instead? And that's the avoided cost of energy. So if I generate this energy, what costs does it help me avoid? So we're going to think about the levelized avoided cost of energy along with the levelized cost of energy. So what can you avoid doing if you build this new generation? Oop. I have to go back to my highlighter. Levelized cost of energy is what cost can you avoid if you build this new you build this new plant. So what you want to think about is, if you're displacing an expensive alternative, then the levelized avoided costs are higher than the cost of the power plant you're thinking about building. If you're displacing an inexpensive alternative, then the levelized avoided cost might be lower than the levelized cost of the power plant you're building. If the levelized avoided costs are above the levelized cost of energy for this power plant, then the project is relatively attractive. Why? Because if the levelized avoided cost is higher than the levelized cost of energy for this plant, then you can generate energy more cheaply with this plant than what you were avoiding doing by building this plant. So the project is relatively more attractive from society's point of view if the levelized avoided cost is above the levelized cost of energy. So it's always important to remember that if you're planning on building a new power plant, you have to ask, well, what are the other alternatives for generating the electricity? And this is why we bring the levelized avoided cost of energy into the conversation. We want to know, of all the options we have for generating this electricity, how does this levelized cost compare? And the levelized avoided cost is asking, if I build this power plant, what generation would I have had that I won't be using? And if I'm displacing really expensive energy, I'm saving money. If I'm displacing really low-cost energy, then I might be raising the cost of generating electricity rather than lowering them. So it's always important to think about what we won't need to be doing if we build this power plant. That way, that helps us understand whether this is the right approach. So even if we know the levelized cost of energy, it might not be enough to know if it's a good idea, because we want to compare it to what the best alternatives are.